Hello, my name is Deborah Armstrong, and I am the owner of Armstrong Empowerment Coaching. And you may be saying, for those of you that are following me, that something looks a little different today than the norm. And you're correct, there is something different. And the thing that is different is I'm recording in a different room of my home. And I think that by doing so, it's going to reflect on how we are pursuing and how we are handling situations that many of us leaders and individuals are facing on a day-to-day basis. And so I wanted to start off by telling you that today I believe that there's many individuals, communities, corporations, and the allies, friends, neighbors that are being impacted by the challenges that we're dealing with today in America. That's not only an American problem, but it's also reaching our global allies as well and becoming challenges with them. And that is, of course, the shutdown. And as many of you know, we've been shut down. This has been the longest shutdown in Americans' history. And it really weighs on many of us. And we may not talk about it because we don't know if we're saying the right thing or we're talking to the right people or we're talking about to people that may disagree with us wholeheartedly. And we don't want to continue to feel that form of rejection that we're going through. So I'm talking to the mass media, those that choose to listen, and even those who are choosing not to listen. I really believe that we must wake up. This is not a dream. It's not a situation where you pinch me and it's over with. This is reality that many of us are facing, including leaders, leaders of corporations, leaders of for small businesses, as well as large businesses. We don't know how to help those that we supervise, those that we delegate, those that we employ on what direction to go for things to not only feel better, but to be different than what we know we're used to. I want to challenge each and every of you today to look at it differently because what we are going through is something that's out of our control. And leaders, I give you permission to accept that this is out of your control. And that the people or the laws or whatever else that you want to dictate is causing these things to occur because they want to put limitations on ourselves. Now, one of the things that we cannot do is we cannot stop people from putting limitations on us. But there are some great things that we can do to allow those limitations not to haunt us, for lack of better words, or make us angry, or make us doubt ourselves and our capabilities, have us to want to give up and just say, it's not even worth fighting for. I want to share those things with you, what you can do and what you do have control over. So, number one, we have control over saying to ourselves and believing in ourselves that we will not allow anybody to put limitations on us. Let me explain to you what I'm really saying about this. Yes, you may not have control of how your work style is changing, how your caseload is getting larger, how rules and laws are constantly changing what you can and cannot do. Granted, you may not have control over any of that. But what you do have control over is knowing that you are doing the best that you can and that you don't have to do everything in one day. You have the right to say, this goes against my moral standards, and I'm sorry, but I can't do it the way you want me to do it. Can we communicate on a way that I believe is more effective, not just for me, but also for my team? For those of you that got laid off, or you're furloughed, or you're working and you're not getting paid, what you do have control over is knowing that you can take your tools, your talents, your trades, and find people, companies, societies that would want to hear what you have to say. In other words, make yourself visible. Speak up for yourself and your needs. Take your talents and your gifts and your trades and your education and your knowledge that you already have and find communities that want to not only accept what you're saying, hear what you're saying, but also invest in what you're saying. Seek sponsors, become a consultant, become a life coach, become a therapist to those that maybe the community is not serving at this time. In doing so, you will gain the reflection and the knowledge of knowing that you are better than this, what these limitations people are putting onto you, that you don't have to play the game the same way that they expect you to play it because our leaders, our major leaders are not playing the game the way that we have been told that it should be played because we're human beings and we have the right to play the game differently. In addition to that, I believe that the things that are happening in this community, in this country, in the country we may be residing is because I had a friend recently talk to me about this, and she was sharing with me of how that is causing us to have enlightenment. And I want to say what I mean by that is it causes us to have enlightenment to do things differently. You know, I was recently watching a show on YouTube, and I'm sorry, I don't remember the lady's name or anything like that, or what the show was called. It was kind of like a commercial, I guess, more than a show. And she was cooking, but she did something different. She was actually preparing the food in her car. And depending on what the food was, ingredients consisted of, she was cooking in her car. No, maybe not using a stove and oven that we're used to, okay? But she definitely was using blenders. She definitely was using her hands. She was definitely using the ingredients that she would normally use as she prepares the different meals that she does prepare on a regular basis. And that really sparked my interest. And the reason why it did is because I started thinking, wow, how can I take my coaching sessions, my coaching business, and stir it up a little bit, make it a little different than I have made it in life. So that's why I am bringing this information to your attention in a different scenario. In other words, we don't have to be the status quo. Allow your mind to leap out with joy and think differently than you have ever thought before. What can you do to enlighten yourself so that you're not held a hostage where people are putting limitations on us? I want you to think about that a little bit because I have found that when I stay within the limitations that either I put on myself or other people have put on me, I become a slave. I become a hostage. I become stagnant. Hmm. So you're probably thinking, what does this have to do with me as a leader? Get out of your box. Do self-reflections. Ask yourself, what can I do differently? I'm not talking about changing careers or anything like that. If you have to, you have to, okay? And that's healthy. But if you don't have to, How can you use your career that you're in right now? How can you use your leadership management skills right now that you have that's going to make a difference not only in your life, but in the life of your team members, your corporation, your schooling, whatever and wherever you are right now in your life? So I say that to you to let you know that limitations are barriers that keeps us from managing the real you, the real me. So, in conclusion, I want you to just think about the barriers, the limitations that you're allowing this governmental impairment to be presented and brought before you, and start reflecting and becoming enlightened on the things that you can do that are different. I'm not accepting any excuses hearing that you don't have that capability of doing that. Yes, you do. It doesn't have to be some glamorous thing. It could be changing a room in where you're hosting your meetings. It could be doing changing the environment where maybe you have meetings and people bring their own lunches where you cater a lunch one day. It could be telling having at a meeting where someone is that's not only there present, but you're giving them the opportunity to speak on something that they're great at. We all have those wonderful skills at our fingertips, for lack of better words. So, thank you for being a part of this. I hope I made a difference in you to you. If I did, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And once again, this is Deborah Armstrong with Armstrong Empowerment Coaching. Keep in mind, you are marvelous. Thank you.